You should be live. Alright. Hello everyone and welcome back to Sperg Games. Now I posted a poll on the twits and the twats, and you guys wanted me to play this new game on my collection, Bayonetta. So without further delay, let's get right to it. And of course I also have our brothers from another mother, Red Pill Religion, providing
love you. Hey, everybody watching the show, check out my stuff.
Yep, check out Uncle Anarchist and his blog. Have a good day.
It's on WordPress. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Uncle Anarchism on WordPress. Go look him up, especially if you're interested in anarchy. Yeah, I mean, theologically, it's so important to me as a Christian. I became Catholic studying Orthodoxy, and it wasn't even Eastern Orthodoxy that convinced me, as I've said many times. It was not Eastern Orthodoxy. It was the Assyrians and the Oriental Orthodox, like the Coptics in them. Because while I could see the differences, the unity in practice and how different things
gonna be freaking bananas.
Just made it obvious to me that
we're kicking this shindig off
brothers that had misunderstood each other
with the help of these guys.
And that's still kind of how I see it.
Falling while on a friggin' part of a clock tower.
I think with Vatican II, some people have gone way overboard with some things, but no, trying to get as close as possible with the other Orthodox. That includes the non-Chalcedonians. In fact, Rome has recognized everybody's orders is valid and everybody's sacraments is valid. So that's what we should be working toward. But there's some people politically don't want that.
Why did it explode?
What I'd actually like your opinion on, if you have one, John Baptiste. What is your opinion of the fact that the Moscow Patriarchy under Kirill there has basically declared Constantinople defunct, and that Moscow is the new Rome, and that they should be the center of the Eastern Orthodox Communion? You heard about that, right?
I think that kind of goes against the whole idea of how the Eastern Orthodox is supposed to work. Because all the patriarchs are supposed to talk to one another. They're not. Yeah. They're not. There's not one that is supposed to be. Oh,
hello, future jobber.
That might be some, Russian political stuff regarding Putin, because there's some things that Putin has said that has made the claim that he wants to rebuild the USSR. Not impossible, and and a very plausible type of thing, in my opinion.
It's
Fortitudo. Had a little brain fart on the guy's name.
We're there's a lot of different schisms going. Schism-inducing issues.
That was just friendly fire, dude.
I really think that a lot of that has to do with what's going on outside of the churches. That's now starting to affect our cohesions, and it's just, I don't know. It's a shame, but I don't know what we can do.
The weird thing is that it may not. The way the Eastern Orthodox work, I could observe as something of an outsider, is that there's definite benefits to not having a centralized authority like a pope. There is. And there's drawbacks. There's big drawbacks. We see that every time we have a horrible pope. Within the Eastern Orthodoxy, they've managed to avoid a lot of the problems of horrible bad popes, but to me at the expense of, no offense, but haven't managed to have an ecumenical council since the seventh one. Just because every time someone tries to have one, a fight breaks out, and it doesn't happen. And people refuse and stuff like that, and something like this, what Kirill's pulling, is it a schism-inducing issue? Because it's like nobody's been excommunicated, it's a pull of authority. But I mean, Constantinople would have to communicate them for that to be a schism inducer, I would think.
Hey, Max, not to interrupt, but Smiling Liger isn't casual. I think he wants to come in. I'm not sure.
Sure, I think he does. Thank you for letting me know. And Mr. Brass, I don't know what's up with him, but I mean... Right.
Well, Smiling Liger can probably tell it. Say more to this.
Who's echoing? Is that you, Liger? Yeah, Liger, you're gonna have to adjust your mic or something. Mute yourself. You're causing a huge echo, man.
Let's see.
Oh, sorry, Liger. Ping us when you think you've got your sound issue resolved. We're not using Google Hangouts. Sorry, we're in here. So you just got to figure out how to make Discord work or suck it. So I'm sorry, what were we just talking about?
Now there are a lot of Easter eggs. Used to various other games.
Constantinople, Rome.
Team Little Angels.
Oh yeah, all
not Team Little Devils. Nice touch, guys.
Weird thing coming out of Constantinople, Jean-Baptiste. I just thought I'd mention
Platinum.
LGBTQ people are like getting in there, in and around and near Constantinople. I just saw
Yuji Shinomura. That's a name you better get used to, guys.
I think saying, in order to be not like the people, not like the Moscow Christians,
Hideki Kamiya. He was the dude who
controlling ways.
Now to introduce my favorite character of the entire game.
I'm like, wow,
Enzo.
Okay, so no,
looks
really,
like I'm attempting to. Even old like man the Destroyer.
It's what bugs me, right? Like, but everybody's got their dirty laundry, but it's crazy how religion and politics, you cannot separate them. I do not know why Mr. Brass keeps bouncing out. He must be having some kind of technical issue. Nobody else is having that happen. Blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah. Hey, Liger, let's see if you've got your... oh, it sounds like you're not echoing now. Are you there? Well, Liger's not echoing, but he's not making any noise either. That's all right. So what have you been doing lately on your channel, Nephil? Nothing. He probably walked away.
Oh, and then there was 3.
I like having this theory that between all the major branches of Orthodoxy, it is just a disagreement between brothers, and on the other time...
Alright, Eggman's a obvious reference to Sonic.
And brothers fight, and, you know... we'll all figure out where we were wrong in the end.
And so here's a little like Joe Pesci meets Monsoon.
I actually feel sad for Protestants who've like thrown out 2,000 years of church history and living tradition.
Look at the chat.
They have lost so much.
That is allowed a lot for a lot of what's going on in Protestant land. That a lot of that, the whole atheist eating off of the evangelical Christians, which just, feeds into itself, because whenever a lot of times whenever an atheist goes from atheist to Christian, they go back to where they came from. Sometimes that doesn't happen. It's all weird.
If you want to stop putting your foot in your mouth.
Yeah, no, ideological atheists do like exploiting the divisions. That's why I find doing it back to them is effective. And I mean, like, I'm in this Facebook group arguing sometimes, which I shouldn't be, but I am. Arguing, it's supposed to be a fight between Orthodox, Catholics, and Protestants. And the Orthodox and the Catholics, almost always wind up on each other's side, because you've got these... Oh my God! It just won't stop. Every day, we're treated to stuff like. Actually, this one is still my favorite. Use of incense is an abomination to God. That came
Here
out
we
of
meet
one
our
guy.
first jobbers.
Really?
Well,
Affinities.
we were
And
talking
I do
about that
mean
with last week, right?
jobbers.
Yeah, but it still sticks as a great reference. Now we lost Nephil. Oh, sorry. Anyway.
Who was it in the Bible? It was in the Old Testament. I know that burnt incense to God. Who
God
was it?
loves incense, actually.
Well, like, yeah, it depends on like it's the intent behind it, right? Like that's what counts.
Wow. Wow. She's just giant swinging these things. Yeah, consider Bayonetta's ass whomping of these angels your birthday gift, Enzo.
Really good to me. Here's a set of
Boom!
verses. It's also
Hey now, my
Old
other
Testament,
favorite character.
in Chronicles,
Big
in
scary
Exodus, in
Wesker.
Numbers,
I mean, Rodon.
Deuteronomy, they burn incense for God all the time, and God is described as liking it. The covenant, the altar.
Oh my God, this is glorious.
There's this wonderful
frankincense and myrrh.
Well, when you go to the New Testament, gold, frankincense, and myrrh were the gifts to the Christ child, and frankincense and myrrh are both incense. Which,
an angelic
I don't know why
centipede.
they didn't just stand up and point and have lightning strike them dead for offending.
How many angels did she just suplex? How many angels?
Frankincense and myrrh.
That would certainly make the Gospels more interesting.
It certainly would. Maybe she just gets up and starts wailing on people.
Maybe I should have made this mature rated, but
we're being a little sacrilegious, but if you get into the deep Christian theology, when the Logos incarnated, when God became human, he could have chosen any form he wanted at all. And he could have been like 100-foot tall Thor if he wanted to be, or walked around as Godzilla or whatever he wanted. He chose to take that humble, very, very humble path instead. There was actually a quote that I found and then I lost it. I'll see if.
Hi, Kojin.
A lovely quote in one of the
Hi,
Psalms,
Kojin.
I think, or it might have been Song of Solomon or whatever.
Well, look at this. Wow.
Ew, that's the one with all the sexual talk.
Yeah. It was something like.
Bang.
Be like incense. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this.
Jeez.
I love this one. Here, I found the article that even had. From Psalm 141:2, let my prayer be counted as incense before thee, and the lifting up of my hands as an evening sacrifice.
Well, hey, you try helping an Umbran witch, and then we'll have a conversation about being chopped liver.
It's all over the Bible. It's also in Revelations. And the prayers of the saints are fragrant incense.
That would be you, Judy. But you shouldn't be out here.
And this dork somehow
just saying.
And there were people agreeing with him. And, every day there's someone coming along and say, idols, graven images, you're bowing before statues, this is an abomination, you're bowing before icons, this is an abomination. And they won't stop no matter how many times they get answers. Sometimes it's the same people. And they're just like robots because they get the same answer repeatedly, and it just bounces off. We got one guy in there, in fact, he goes by Suresh, I think.
Yeah.
He's obviously
I'm with him.
From,
because this is about to get messy.
He's a little broken, and his avatar looks Asian, but...
Little tutorial here.
Every day,
beautiful.
You people need to stop worshiping Mary. You people need to stop worshiping Mary. You need to stop bowing before idols and graven images. And we keep responding to him, and we keep giving him Bible verses, and we keep citing things, and He's like a robot. He's like an atheist.
Muna.
But I think
This is a free-form discussion, right?
yeah, pretty much. You can change the subject. I'm just rambling.
No. I was gonna, because I wanted to ask a question, but I wasn't sure if we
No, what's your question?
had to. This is one for, I guess, Christian theology. So, like, what's up with like the animal sacrifices, like in the Old Testament, all the way up until like the New Testament, where Jesus comes and he's like, "All right, new covenant time. You don't have to do that anymore.
All right.
I'm the sacrifice." And
I got one thing to say.
now. Like, I guess
Dodge!
what was the, why were those sacrifices up until that point? Why were those required?
Activate which time at the last possible minute.
Oh, wait a minute. Somebody in the chat. Nice going.
Damn it, Kojin.
What was the nice going for? I love him.
Dodge!
He does it well. All right, anyway, sorry, ADHD. The question is, why the animal sacrifice in the first place? Well, I mean, one thing I would observe about animal sacrifice or any form of ritual sacrifice, you know, could be meat, could be vegetables, could be drink even, and certain other kinds, but
well,
it is observable.
It's kind of adorable that these angelic dorks think they can take me.
Is nearly universal human behavior. I mean, like,
yeah, nice move, dum-dums.
You know, is another
Just
question,
out.
but it's one of the
I'm gonna quote Mr. Metekor here. Just out.
A shocking percentage
Just out.
of the population just does
out.
it automatically.
Don't be a
they just
dum-dum.
kind of develop their own pagan religion that does it, or they join another religion that does it. Or
You know, Kojin, I gotta be real.
Universal behavior in humans to make sacrifices.
What are your thoughts on this game, considering you are a quote-unquote Catholic? Oh, jeez, not you clowns too. Yeah, I don't think so.
It's funny how often you see people engaging in prayer and ritual sacrifice. Even one of my favorites, I don't know if people even remember this, but like you know, they have this ritual where if they, you know, open up some liquor or whatever, they will open the liquor up and pour a little out on the ground and say, "For my dead homies," kind of thing, for my dead brothers from the gang or whatever, and just give that sacrifice of the liquor before drinking the rest of the bottle. It's just kind of innate in humans to do this. So take away the Old Testament and Christianity, and humans will still be doing this.
Still, you get my point, right?
The
Low
human does it.
Low nope.
Now,
Toki wa tomare, mother. Toki wa tomare, mother.
Presume that the Bible stories are true, because they are.
Alright, but
this, why did God put that need in us?
Alright, so just shoot these idiots.
Yeah.
Why did that need in us at all?
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is, like, you know, if Jesus was ultimately going to be the, in a sense, the last sacrifice, and he would cover all people's sins, Jews and Gentiles alike. Why not just wait until he came, or, you know, just do it right away?
Yeah. Okay. There are.
Alright, what the?
There is more than one answer to this question, but I will give you the standard Catholic answer because it works.
Die!
Some don't like the Catholic approach because they don't like that we kind of have this idea of a progressing narrative, but that's kind of how we see it. I guess I can't give you a
Why do you keep antagonizing me like that?
Except that we were built to love God.
Ow!
And showing him in
some you guys think you're so cute!
That we love him was the mechanism they were given. Because that process of atoning for a sin and offering sacrifice, I would tell you, obviously.
But still, considering Bayonetta's personality, heads up.
You know, modernist terms. The idea of saying, "I'm sorry, forgive me, here's this sacrifice."
Man, is every angel in this game gonna be ugly as sin on the inside?
And so God would accept those gestures, but they clearly weren't enough.
You might want to watch where you're going, shite lord.
And I've really gotten a sense of this as I've been reading the entire Old Testament with my son, who's just turned 14. So the kid's going to really say he read the whole Bible with his dad. And it's
Let's grab halos.
The wrong way to read the Bible normally. Most people should not do it this way. You really shouldn't. But we decided we were just going to do it this way for now, for once. So we're reading it straight through. And while it's hard to read
Yoink.
In the early goings, you really do get a sense of a narrative that starts to flow, which is that the Jews, and this is the weird thing about the Jewish religion. It really is. Even I think any Jews listening will not be offended
Going
with this
down.
observation. All their judges and all their kings were
oh my God! Those angels are like, what the fuck?
Unlike the literature you find,
those angels are like, pourquoi?
Kings and kingdoms and chieftains.
Those angels like,
warlords.
she expected us. She expected all of us.
Their own historians
Dios
try to make their
mío.
guys look good. The Jews never try to make their guys look good. The Jews guys always look bad. Literally, David was arguably their greatest king, and he was also did some really embarrassing, awful stuff. The Jews recorded why their kings sucked. I don't know any other culture that did that. And you see this.
God damn, these are some ugly motherfuckers.
David was arguably the greatest.
No, really. No, really. Just look at these guys. They look like something out of an H.R. Geiger painting.
God all the time.
But don't worry, I'll put all your ugly asses out of their collective misery.
Recent, who came after David, the Bible clearly states that he is the wisest man who ever lived. It's really clear that he was, that he for all time. So today, theoretically, Solomon is still the wisest man who ever lived, according to the scriptures. Nobody was ever wiser or knew more or understood better than Solomon. And then you read the tales of Solomon's rule and
those angels are almost
his many screw-ups. And
I think that's the first time we ever agreed on anything.
I remember the first time I read that, I'm like, this book is stupid. Why are they saying the best man, the wisest man who ever lived did all these dumb, bad things? That doesn't make sense. This last time through, it dawned on me. He's the wisest man who ever lived. He was the wisest a human being could possibly be, and he was still a fuck-up much of the time, which is a lesson in the limits of human reason. And what you see is this narrative develop over time where God is trying to develop a relationship with people, and people are trying to develop a relationship with him. But look at the story of Moses and all of his failings and screw-ups, and Aaron too. And then you go through the period where they don't have kings yet. They're just ruled by judges who are ruling in the tradition of Moses, right, with the Levite priests and all that. And you read through the tale of the judges, by the way. You could almost summarize the tale of the judges as and this judge.
All right,
sucked,
how can you make a shovel?
And this judge sucked, and this judge sucked. I'm exaggerating comedically, but not that much.
Wow! And I thought you were headbacked, Kojin.
The Jewish people.
No, really.
Out of pridefulness or whatever, or wanted a king, because all the other people in the other lands wanted a king. So God gives them a king, and a pretty good one, who really loved God, David, and God loved him back.
I think the look they're going for is more like Joe Pesci.
Then when you get to the Christian perspective, what you start to see no matter how people manage it, they couldn't, no matter what type of sacrifice.
Why am I getting the urge to hum Outrun music now?
Even the guys closest to God, even guys who'd pretty much come face to face with God, kept screwing up. And so with the idea of Christ is that
I'm saying that Enzo here is more henpecked than cogent.
Sacrifice at the temple. This is completely different at the altar. This is completely different than most Protestant understanding.
What, you think I fear death?
All the Orthodox are like that. We believe we are reenacting the ritual sacrifice
Cogent.
Of the Old Testament on the altar. We believe we're doing that sacrifice ritual. The same one.
You know I don't fear death, right, Cogent?
And bells and all that, but Christianized. Except
you want to help?
You don't have to give cereal. And
why don't you try helping me and Bale here slap around the divine, as Enzo put it?
Other types of offerings. We offer up the precious blood of the Lamb, the flesh of Jesus. We give God His only begotten Son as the perfect sacrifice. And we don't have to sacrifice any of that other stuff.
Well played.
Certain Protestants read that as we don't have to give sacrifice anymore.
Yeah.
Because Jesus did it that one time. But the way we see it is, no, we're still going about the Old Testament practice of we confess our sins and ask the Lord for forgiveness and make sacrifice. The sacrifice is the Eucharist. And so, you know, Protestants can say whatever they want, and modern Judaism practitioners can say whatever they want. That's how we see it. So, I mean, I guess it's filling a need within us. I mean, we know we have the need. And I really do think that it's ultimately rooted in the yearning for God. That need for sacrifice. It's built in. It's a mechanism that to show us that.
Guys,
how I put what sacrifice is. That's the mechanism God gave us to show love in some concrete way. That was a long answer, but it was pretty good, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, that was more insightful than I was expecting.
Huh. Well, there you go. So yeah, and actually, that's the Catholics and the others who take the Eucharist real seriously. It really becomes, even I'm just going to psychologize it all. Like, really, telling somebody all the shit you did wrong, and then going and bowing down and praying and getting on your knees and saying, "I'm sorry. Here's the sacrifice, and thank you for making the sacrifice for me." And doing that every week, just the psychological benefits of that alone are incalculable. And of course, the spiritual value, if you believe in it, and I do, is infinite. So, oh God, I love being Catholic.
Well, you could take the psyche and the soul or spirit as, you know, being synonymous, right? So. Yeah,
I gotta tell you, one thing that the Eastern Orthodox got right, that the Romans we Catholics are starting to adopt.
To be honest, I stopped questioning him a long time ago, Chun-Li.
Just kind of a mechanical thing that you do. But it was the Easterners who've always emphasized the sacraments as medicine, as spiritual medicine, as the idea that the church is a hospital and we are all walking wounded from the ravages and damages of sin. And the sacraments of, penance, reconciliation, whatever you want to call it, group prayer together, the grand prayer that is the divine liturgy, where we're all praying together.
Oh, I haven't seen this one before.
Together out loud, together, and
hey, Junko.
Praises.
I'm busy giving angels a little despair.
To the family, which we're all now a part of, because Jesus is our brother, and Mary is our mother, and God is our Father, and the love binds us all between us, and we are all united in one mystical body from Pentecost onward. We're all part of the same church, so yeah.
You mystical son of a bitch.
That's right, and that's what Protestants threw all that out! Oh, you fools!
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, so I know I jumped in pretty late here, and I just wanted to kind of interject some thoughts that I had relating to the incident with the the kid at the in the indigenous elder, and the Church of Israel,
Wow.
or whoever. What I don't remember what.
They don't make angels like those jokers anymore. Oh
well.
Black Hebrew Israelites.
Yeah, the Black Hebrew Israelites.
Also, Remy, what on God's earth are you doing here?
News came out just as I was doing some research on Black Elk. I don't know. Are you guys familiar with Black Elk at all? He's the Lakota elder. He died in 1950, and he was a medicine man, and I think he was a second cousin of Crazy Horse.
Wow, poor Enzo.
And he there's a book.
Fate just has a hate boner for him.
That was published about him called
Home Sweet Home.
What? Called what? Lost you? You know what I think I want to do is I'm going to take that long explanation I got. I should remember in the morning and see if I can cut that out and just put that up as an explanation on sacrifice. I think that was a pretty good off-the-cuff sermon. I was preaching, wasn't I?
I got taken to church. Is what happened.
Sorry.
That's what happened.
Yeah, you know, traffic.
I thought I was around the down around the corner from my house where the Catholic church is. I thought I was there for a minute.
They don't talk like that in church often enough.
They don't talk like that in church, boy.
Tiger, we're not talking over you, but you just cut off.
Oh, by the way, Ronan is voiced by
Yell or something.
I missed you too, Ash. But seriously though, Ronan in this game.
Is that better?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
Uh-oh, he's going Western again!
Yeah, there's a book that was published on Black Elk called Black Elk Speaks. And actually, what I want to bring up relates to sacrifice also. Because the Lakota were very much about... And I'm not saying I believe in... the specific kind of paganism that they,
my God,
that they believe in, that indigenous cultures believe in. But there's some parallels, and Black Elk and the Lakota believed in the whole seventh generation, the prophecies about the seventh generation, and his prophecies were the subject of the book Black Elk Speaks. That's what the book was called. And I was writing about the kind of parallels between those prophecies and other
fan service intensifies.
Other Christian mystic prophecies. And the whole idea of the seventh generation, and
I don't know what the seventh generation is.
The idea that basically everything that we do, we have to consider the impact that it's going to have in seven generations from now. Or on the seventh generation.
There's a theory that something's going to happen over 7 generations. Black Elk Speaks said something would happen within 7 generations, and we're in the 7th generation now.
And she just pulled a Batman!
Is that what it amounts to?
Enzo! Your drinks are going on your tab, Chief!
It ties in with that philosophy. His specific prophecy was centered around the idea of these sacred hoops.
Ping!
And the idea that there's all these different hoops, that's what he called them, that made up the whole world. and that
Yeah, Taze.
in 7 generations, the hoops would unite as one. So kind of interesting stuff there. And he, as I was doing my research, I discovered that the Catholic Church is considering giving him sainthood. There's a pastor in South Dakota who was commenting on it in the articles that I read about it.
Okay.
And you know, this guy's a Lakota elder. You know, he's very, very well respected among a lot of First Nations, indigenous people in the United States. And like there's all these people who were apparently people who were part of the American Indian movement,
Angels Metropolis,
who have a great respect for him. And you know, the Catholic Church is thinking about giving him statehood. And so that's interesting that, you know, CNN, you know, is fueling divisive
back in Ninja,
basically. You know, and
the 2 votes to none. I am playing Bayonetta.
You know, incite division and conflict.
You kind of missed the fan servicey
intro. Or, you know, maybe CNN, maybe, I don't know if that was their intention in publishing that video.
If the sound of the game is on, is explaining that we need to head to Big Red for the Angels Metropolis to nab a stone for him called the Right Eye.
They don't like Trump. You know, but they're not going to report on how the Catholic Church is considering giving sainthood to Black Elk.
Well, I don't.
Do you see what I'm getting at with that?
Well, yeah, I do. I don't know if the story is true or not. To be honest, my antennae are going up because the church is not likely to do that unless he actually was Catholic, or at least.
Yeah, he converted. He converted to Catholicism.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, then there would be a very good chance. Okay, then I take away my. Yeah, of course the church would consider making. I don't know anything about him, but if he, of course the church would. We've got tons of like Mexican and I can't think of. I know we must have American Indian saints already. Actually, we almost have to. Well, no, because we don't have that many American saints. He would be considered one of the early ones. American Indian saints. One of my favorite saints was a. There she is.
The Eyes of the World?
Yeah, this is an article about Black Elk in the Catholic Church here.
Yeah, it looks so. If so, it looks like to me he would maybe be the second. Although there may be others. This is the only one I could find, but I did find it on a quick search. Saint Kateri Tekawitha. I hope I said that right.
Huh.
She is
the Eyes of the World.
Oh no, her mother was Algonquin and was captured by the Mohawks. Okay. So
almonds have officially been activated, people.
The only other First Nations, the only other individual who's from a First Nations tribe who was given sainthood. So Black Elk would be the second.
And then go ahead.
You know, and it's interesting because you know I was actually having a conversation about the wall and. You know, that, like, I was listening to Ben Shapiro talk about how none of the land around there is actually being used. And, you know, the Lakota, it's specifically the Tonto Odoam people who that's like the land there is their land. That's part of their nation. And it extends into Mexico. You know, so conflict over, you know, the wall being built there in that specific area has to deal with that. because it would be going right through their sacred land.
Oh, gee whiz.
And
that was in there. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and there's, but it's not really being used for anything, you know. At the same time, you know, as far as, you know, you know, as okay, so there's a big hullabaloo, obviously, with Jewish people in Israel, and you know, that's like, you know, that the state of Israel is considered holy land and is considered, you know, they have a spiritual connection with Israel. We have a spiritual connection. I have a spiritual connection with Israel, in a sense.
Sure.
You know, and so it's pretty easy to understand how First Nations people like the Tonto Odoam, I don't know if
Whoa,
Chemo
Sabe. Whoa! I just got a pure platinum.
Part of that tribe, but still, you know, they're all, you know, connected as far as having, you know, a similar kind of sense of that kind of, you know, the seeing land as sacred.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's kind of a general pattern with all religions.
Well, not all religions, but not all religions, especially not your more Gnostic-oriented ones. But you're basically correct that people seeing land and areas as sacred is very universal among human religions. It's the most glaring that most people don't know about is Japan, which the Shinto religion. To make a short of it, is that Japan, like the Earth was already here, and then some gods created Japan and drew it up out of the sea, and they see Japan itself as this special place made on the Earth by these gods, and the people living there as being part of that heritage. And this is actually one of the reasons why they're very resistant to immigration, because it's just that kind of spiritual race nationalism is like really embedded in their culture. And the Japanese government embraces that very heavily, by the way. Japan's not that secular at all. I mean, like the prime minister and all that, no, they take the Shinto way seriously and they push it.
Yeah, not only do they think that the land was created and given to them by these gods, they also think that people who are of the Shinto religion, when they pass on, their spirits, and it depends on, you know, the type of person they were in that life, their spirits go on to become a sort of member of this collective of gods, and they inhabit the land. So, a little fun fact for you.
I can tell you that within Catholic tradition, what we specifically believe, at least out of the Thomist Western Catholic tradition, is that there are uncounted number of angels, right? Like trillions. Like there are so many angels. Like every human being has their own guardian angel. And a corresponding guardian devil that is dispatched by Satan. Yes, this is basic Catholic teaching. Everybody's got a guardian demon and a guardian angel. And
going up.
But moving on from there, then a family can have an angel. A city, town, area, or woods or whatever areas may have their own angel and their own demon. Nation, countries do.
Now see that portal?
Ethnic groups do. And these angels and these demons. So I mean, you're like if you're, you know, of a certain American tribal tribe, you'll have a guardian angel and a guardian demon for that tribe, kind of thing. We really believe things like this, and they exert an influence over the whole of that people, which you know, I admit, is not that different than what we're talking about in some other religions. But
yeah, and
go ahead.
But just to kind of tie up, you know, what I was talking about with you know, the land there and the wall and all that.
Running a wall through that land would probably have some kind of spiritual consequence, even if nobody's there. I would think that's the case.
And as far as you know, I know politically, you know, as far as the government sees it, you know, and this is something I was writing about too, that I anticipate on posting really soon. I'm writing like 3 different articles right now, but it's interesting that government, you know, and politicians, you know, and they can't possibly see land as sacred.
She said the thing.
Because
she said
it's not
the
up
thing.
To government and politicians to see land as sacred, because government and politicians aren't religion.
Well,
and you know, and it's interesting that you have the people who are defending open borders. You know, most of them happen to be, you know, unless you're talking about like, well, even libertarians who don't believe in borders, you know, they still have a lot in common with you know, the left, as far as the left's open border policies. And yet, a lot of those people, you know, I don't want to say, you know, that most of them are not religious. I think a lot of people, you know, people who I know who are libertarian also tend to veer towards like a lot of Eastern traditions and you know, Buddhism and
oh yeah, that's that'll come in handy.
Like paganism and things like that. So I guess in that sense, you know, I can see how you know, they wouldn't want government involved anyway. You know, that's their whole view. It's like they just want to see no government, not just no borders, but no government, and they just want to see a rule by nature, right? Rule according to natural law, basically. Whereas, you know, the actual people working in government, they just want to break down the borders because, you know, it's all about economics. It's all about cheap labor. It's all about, you know, all these different economic kind of implications that have to do with open borders. But none of it's sacred. None of it. None of it has to do with you know, kind of
oh look, more jobbers,
values and that have to do with
and an even bigger jobber
and sacred kind of values.
These guys are called
ideals.
Applauds.
Yeah, well, and the thing is that in
all right, you and me.
Past, it would have mattered. In fact, especially, but not just, but certainly in the Christian tradition, despite fake history to the contrary, most Christian people in the United States did their best to respect the Native Americans' religious and spiritual beliefs. They did, and not to just diss on them. In fact, you know, in general, especially Catholic missionaries, your Bible thumpers aren't like this, but Catholic missionaries and them will be like starting with, you know, immediately recognizing anything that's good, wholesome, and pure in some people's, you know, existing tradition. and
This guy just straight up did a psycho crusher.
Now that he became Catholic, Black Elk, a great spiritual master who had visions and stuff like that. That's a believable story because we see that all over the place, and yeah, governments used to respect these spiritual things in a big way. In fact, the U.S. government still, there's remnants of it, right? There's things that Indian tribes are allowed to do within their authentic, ancient religious traditions that you're not allowed to do off reservations, like use certain drugs like ayahuasca, because this historically Christian nation always went out of its way to say, Christianity is a choice. We still respect your spiritual beliefs otherwise, as long as they're not,
And there's also this just general, as far as human rights, I haven't really looked into what groups are involved, but the whole connection with CNN too is kind of interesting because Ted Turner was the founder of CNN, and Ted Turner is very much connected with the United Nations.
All those
he started.
All those billionaire media moguls are in with the United Nations. It's one of the reasons Trump is so unpopular. He's a threat to all of that. All the big six media corporations and the internet giants are all of one
Now this guy's a second sphere beloved.
Ted Turner and Rupert Murdoch are like the black sheep of a very I won't even call them better. Maybe slightly less. They're part of the same establishment. People like Rupert Murdoch and Ted Turner. They're just ornery and dissent on some issues. This is why I also am pretty sure that I believe the rumors that Alex Jones is ultimately Ted Turner's property, or at least Ted Turner owns a part of him. I think that's probably true. So yeah.
Yeah, just like the whole fiasco with Soros is just kind of not really a conflict. It's like I don't doubt that there's people who are intentionally kind of sowing seeds of conflict.
Oh, hi, Gamora!
In order to carry out an agenda that doesn't, there's a lot of people.
Oh.
For example, a lot of people who are pro-Trump who are against the United Nations, and they want
to. That's an Angelic Hymns Gold LP.
Yeah, Trump and do that.
And I understand that. I was recently listening to a video on No More News channel. It's KNOW More News. And he's all basically, his name is Adam. I don't remember his last name, but he's basically promoting not promoting, but he's defending the whole boycott, divestment, and sanctions thing, and that was something I was looking into.
This is rambling a little too much, and I really want to close the stream up.
Okay, well, basically what I was getting at was that I wouldn't be surprised if CNN is still pushing the United Nations agenda that Ted Turner helped. He funded the United Nations Foundation, or the United Nations Fund. He donated $1 billion to start that whole fund.
That does not.
And the United Nations also recognizes. You can look up the United Nations rights of indigenous people, and it seems nice on the surface because indigenous people have rights. But what they, the United Nations is basically using it as a cover for is socialism.
Yeah, because
global socialism.
Yes, because you look at any UN project, and by the way, feminism will be all over it, and all kinds of other dodgy ideological stuff will be all over it. It is actually to destroy these indigenous people that they're supposedly uplifting. mostly by making them a dependent slave class in one way or another. So listen, I really want to close the stream up. This has been fun, everybody. This is what we do every night here now. We have a round table where we start on one topic and who knows where it ends up. But this was fun. If someone reminds me, I may take that little off the cuff preaching about the Eucharist and sacrifice and put it up as its own separate thing, if I remember and have the energy. All right, everybody. Well, remember, hit that tip jar on redpillreligion.com or become a patron, and God bless.
Okay. The Onyx Roses. Don't have nearly enough pay dirt. Yeah. Capitalism has won again. Well, that was intellectual. Pasted. Well, damn. That was balls. Next up, we got Chapter 2, Vigrid, City of Deja Vu. It's kind of bad. Reference to Mad World. Good touch, guys. Yeah, I may be a normie at this sort of crap, but hey. I know reference right anyway. Let's get into chapter 2, so. Oh, interesting little fact here. John here is voiced by Grady Alyssa. Well, it's that time again. Let's introduce ourselves to some new jobbers. Now these guys are called Deer and Decorations. Let's go with this joke. Luca, voiced by Yuri Lowenthal. The universe seems to hate Enzo and Luca. Oh, son of a... I'll deal with you later, young man! Muda, 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 muda. Now we have these guys. These are called enchants. Two of these guys? Looks like his buddy is joining the party. Hey, Rodon, I got another present for you. Okay. Okay, Chief. Sharaba, hmm? Perfect. Muda. Another one of those puzzles, huh? Hmm? Now it's time to meet the purest cinnamon roll in the whole game. Sarasa. Huh. She's gone. You again? Alright, Fortitudo, let's get this thing over with. I do have a reputation to uphold after all. Yeah, which time should make my job a little more easier. Oh, that's 3 in my court. Yeah, good gag there, but I'm actually here for something that's going to help me in the long run. Thanks, Rodon. You're frickin' aces, man. Get back here. I am sick and tired of being ignored. I guess that sounds that. So until next time, guys, this is your Lethal Sperg. Well, telling you all to take it easy, I guess.